It's just another tough fight for either one.
He's got a better chance to be very competitive in this, in a way, because he doesn't throw reckless punches and too many punches, where he gives Inoue a lesser chance to catch him.
He's vulnerable, he can be hurt, he can be put down, and MJ's a big puncher. I don't think you can judge much off of the performance of last week from MJ, because it was sort of cautious, and he was just going in there to get the win.
Boxing experts are seriously backing Murodjon Akhmadaliev as a dangerous opponent for Naoya Inoue. Teddy Atlas highlighted that MJ is not only powerful but also a smart, disciplined fighter who doesn't waste punches. Instead of throwing recklessly, he calculates every shot with precision, which makes it much harder for Inoue to find openings. His southpaw stance, strong fundamentals, and maturity in the ring give him a real chance to upset Inoue. Analysts believe if Inoue underestimates him, Akhmadaliev's skill, speed, and composure could be the exact formula needed to hand the Japanese star one of the toughest fights of his career.
He's a southpaw, he's a good puncher, he doesn't waste anything. He's very deliberate in his approach. He slowly, takes the air out of the room by carefully putting pressure on. He's not reckless. He's got good legs. He controls range really well, going in and out, changing range. That helps him defensively. It helps him offensively. He does that like Lomachenko did it. Not as good as Lomachenko. I don't know if anybody does legs as good as Lomachenko at his best did. And Lomachenko was better because he not only went in and out, he went to the sides. He went in, out, side, in. I mean, he was a magician with his legs. He was a ballet artist with his legs. But MJ uses them well. He doesn't waste anything. As my son said, he's got good eyes. He places punches really accurately, especially to the body. He throws a beautiful left uppercut to the liver. Beautiful, from the southpaw position. Usually you see that punch from the orthodox position with the conventional left hook to the liver. He does it with a left uppercut to the liver. He gets range. He delivers it, again, very accurately, flawlessly. He is a serious guy. He's not the busiest guy in the world, but that makes him a problem too. I kind of laughed. One of the commentators, I don't know who the guy was, but the blow-by-blow guy, I had to laugh when he said, "Oh, hey, this will never work against Inoue." What are you talking about? Why? He's got to throw more punches for you to give him a chance against Inoue? Where did you get your boxing diploma from? What school was that? I'd like to know. So he's going to have a better chance, in your estimation, to beat Inoue because he should be throwing a lot more punches.
Joel Diaz emphasizes that Murodjon Akhmadaliev truly stands out in the super bantamweight division. As a southpaw, Akhmadaliev brings natural angles and unexpected movement that trouble conventional orthodox fighters. Diaz highlights MJ's rare combination of speed and strength, noting that his punches land with precision and effect, not merely force. Additionally, his footwork allows him to control distance, pivot away from danger, and create openings from unconventional angles. According to Diaz, facing Akhmadaliev won't be a straightforward matchup. His unique stance, calculated aggression, and athleticism ensure that even elite opponents must carefully prepare. In a fight with Naoya Inoue, Diaz believes these traits could turn what many view as a mismatch into one of the toughest challenges of Inoue's career. Expect to see AJ adapt or be outmaneuvered entirely.
Joel, we just talked about you did save Cinco de Mayo boxing. Congratulations. Now that you know Inoue from Cardenas, you have MJ, who's next. Is that going to be here or is it going to be Tokyo? Do you know?
They talked about Tokyo. I think it's going to be over there.
I think it's more electric here because we can go. But now...
I wish it was here.
I know. With what you learned and with Cardenas learned, is it going to be easier to be able to train MJ, or do you think Inoue is going to come in differently?
Well, it's a different style. It's a different fighter. Cardenas is a right-hander.
Location for them.
MJ is lefty. Their both styles are different.
Thank you so much.
It's just another tough fight for either one. I mean, MJ is tough. He's strong. He's disciplined. He has great timing. He has better footwork. Cardenas, don't get me wrong, Cardenas is very, very smart with his defense, on avoiding getting hit. But, I mean, I don't think it's going to be easy for either or.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be an easy task, even though I share the ring with Inoue already. It's not, because Inoue is very smart. He's very athletic, and, I mean, his timing, his volume is overwhelming.
Analysts warned that if Naoya Inoue underestimates Murodjon Akhmadaliev and treats the bout as an easy fight, it could be the biggest mistake of his career. The concern isn't about talent. Inoue's skills are undeniable, but about mindset and preparation. Experts highlight a critical advantage. Akhmadaliev is trained by Joel Diaz. That experience gives Diaz's team unique insight into Inoue's tendencies, what works, where he's vulnerable, and how opponents can exploit those truths. Analysts argue that this shared training lineage is perhaps the most important factor in the fight. Inoue must remain disciplined, avoid overconfidence, and treat MJ as a legitimate, highly prepared challenge or pay a steep price.
Naoya Inoue admitted that MJ Akhmadaliev may possibly be his strongest opponent yet, and that there's no shame in admitting that his plan is to stay vigilant and be extra cautious. Inoue, who's known to always pretty much win via knockout, admitted that for this fight, it's okay to win via decision, suggesting that being reckless and letting his guard down is definitely a big no-no, especially considering that Akhmadaliev's trainer is the same guy who trained Ramon Cardenas, the fighter who fought and scored a knockdown against Inoue this past Cinco de Mayo. Once again, this fight will be for the undisputed junior featherweight title, and if Inoue wins, he's expected to fight again on December 27th and will be headlining a Japan versus Mexico card in Saudi Arabia. Now, this will mark Inoue's official Riyadh season debut in the Middle East, as well as the last fight for Inoue before he and fellow Japanese pound-for-pound Junto Nakatani meet early next year.
Teddy Atlas praised Murodjon Akhmadaliev as one of the fastest and strongest fighters in the division. He explained that MJ doesn't waste punches or throw recklessly. Instead, he calculates each shot for maximum impact. This disciplined style, according to Atlas, is what makes him dangerous against Naoya Inoue. By avoiding careless exchanges and focusing on precision, Akhmadaliev reduces the chances of getting caught and increases his odds of pulling off an ups.
Where he gives Inoue a lesser chance to catch him as he's throwing those punches.
And he's a southpaw.
Yeah, and he's a southpaw. He's very select with what he throws. And when he throws, it's accurate. It's at the right place, at the right time, in the right position. He's not throwing, like you say, more punches where he might throw from too far away or too many in one spot, where Inoue, who's great at timing guys, would time him in between a fourth punch. Inoue won't have that opportunity because this guy is selective. He is smart. He is calculating. That's what gives him a chance. That's the opposite of what whoever he was. The opposite. That's what gives him a chance for me.
Eddie Hearn sparked debate in the boxing world when he suggested that Naoya Inoue was ducking a showdown with Murodjon Akhmadaliev. According to Hearn, Inoue had been informed that Akhmadaliev was the most complete and dangerous fighter in the division. Yet the match never materialized until now. The promoter insisted that MJ has long been the most avoided boxer in the super bantamweight class. Someone with a high-risk and low-reward profile for the stars at the top. By framing it as in no way deliberately sidestepping the challenge, Hearn fueled the narrative that this fight is overdue. His remarks elevated Akhmadaliev's profile by portraying him as the man other champions didn't want to face.
Inoue is straight ducking MJ Akhmadaliev. He's been ordered to fight him twice, right? He's had 2 gimme fights now instead of fighting Akhmadaliev. And now, well, tomorrow, no, Monday, the WBA will write to Naoya Inoue and they will say, enough's enough. You have to fight Akhmadaliev next, or you will be stripped of your WBA world title. He has ducked Akhmadaliev twice after an order. Now he's getting ordered for a 3rd time, and he will give up his right as undisputed champion rather than make a mandatory defense against Akhmadaliev. What? Tell me a better fight at 122 than Inoue against Akhmadaliev. It doesn't exist. So you're ducking the best fight in the division. And I can't understand it. Like, and I don't even think, it's just coming from the team. They don't like the fight.
Gareth A. Davies, however, offered a counterpoint by questioning Eddie Hearn's assessment. He asked bluntly, "Who is MJ Akhmadaliev that Naoya Inoue would feel the need to avoid him?" Davies noted that while MJ is respected by boxing insiders, his name recognition outside of hardcore circles is limited. Inoue, on the other hand, is already a global figure, an undisputed champion who has fought and beaten elite competition while building a massive fan base. From that perspective, the idea of Inoue ducking someone less known seemed contradictory. Davies emphasized that Inoue is not in a position where he needs to chase validation. His accomplishments and reputation speak for themselves. By questioning Hearn's claims, Davies highlighted the gap between perception and reality in boxing promotion. To him, in no way fighting MJ would be more about legacy and ticking off another dangerous opponent than about silencing critics. The exchange between Hearn and Davies reflects the two sides of the narrative. One promoting MJ as the avoided man, the other questioning whether such avoidance was ever logical.
Akhmadaliev, who is Akhmadaliev? I know he's very seasoned and he's a brilliant fighter and very dangerous, but who is he?
At this stage of Naoya Inoue's career, exactly that question, Gareth. Who is he?
Naoya Inoue is number 2 pound for pound in the world,
Mate,
isn't he? Or 2 or 3.
For the people that may not know Naoya Inoue, he's in the top 3 pound for pound. He's a 4 division world champion, 2 weight, 2 division, undisputed champion. Naoya Inoue, I'll tell you where he goes next. He's been light fly, super fly, bantam, super bantam. You know, he's gone through the divisions, winning world titles and getting undisputed, etc. Where does he go next? He moves up. He's just signed with Riyadh season.
Yep.
The fight was there. It was a brilliant performance against Kim. Just showed his class, absolutely dominated and absolutely
Don't call him on, I say, because Kim made a massive mistake,
yeah,
didn't
Kim
he?
called him on, and the body shot was crippling, and then he landed a big right hand. The fight was over, but it was calculated. It was meticulous in that finish. It was brilliant.
This guy is a modern great. He's called a monster because I think it's 26 knockouts from 29 fights now. He is so destructive. He's come up through the weight divisions, as you say, 4 weight divisions, not just winning world titles, but dominating the best in the divisions. He's stepping up to a 5th weight division. He's got the credence and the belief of Turki Al-Sheikh now, who wants him to fight. Who did he mention? Nick Ball. And this is a fight we've been pushing for. I've been talking about it for a year. Stylistically, Ball is a squat, powerful pocket rocket who comes at you all night.
Trainer Joel Diaz added another layer to the conversation by praising Akhmad's versatility and pedigree. According to Diaz, MJ is bigger and more complete than Ramon Cardenas, the fighter who previously handed Inoue a tough night and even claimed a victory. Diaz argued that if Cardenas could cause problems, Akhmadaliev, who is stronger, faster, and more experienced, would be an even more formidable test. He pointed out that MJ has fought every style imaginable: pressure fighters, counterpunchers, slick movers, and power punchers. This broad exposure has sharpened his adaptability and given him the confidence to perform under different circumstances. Diaz described him as one of the greatest fighters in the current landscape, not merely because of his physical tools, but because of his seasoned ring IQ. For Inoue, who thrives on timing and precision, Diaz suggested that facing a fighter with such depth and experience would present unique challenges. The message was clear. Akhmadaliev is not just another contender, but a complete fighter with the attributes to genuinely test the pound-for-pound star.
You just mentioned earlier MJ has that fight in Mexico. It's looking like a stay busy kind of fight. We've heard that the fight with Inoue is official. Is it confirmed?
Well, they said it is. I don't know. I mean, they already announced it. They said it's September 14th. So.
And now I see MJ and Ramon, good buddies. There's animosity there. Yeah. They're always motivating each other. Half the time they don't talk really about common opponents. They're just they're just treating the shit the way they say it. What has MJ said about that fight, and how does he feel about his chances?
Look, you're talking about 2 different fighters. Ramon is totally different from MJ. MJ is lefty. Ramon is righty. Ramon is smaller than MJ. MJ is a bigger, solid, more solid fighter with more technique. He was an Olympian, remember. MJ has fought every style around the world because he was an Olympian. He was a silver medalist, bronze medalist, whatever. He's fought the best of the best in the world. That's why MJ has a better chance than Ramon. The only difference between us and MJ is the language barrier. To talk to him the way I can talk to a Mexican fighter that grew up with me, to motivate him in my language is different than just saying davai, the rabota, like work, No, it's different. So that's the only issue, the only factor that we're gonna have to work around. But I just think that MJ, it's faster. He is really hard as well. His timing and his experience.
Yeah. And of course, MJ, again, Ramon, you guys have one of the deepest stables in boxing. Obviously, the boys have talked about it. If one of them gets a title, they'll serve it up.
No, they talked before. It's like, for example, they said before the fight, Ramon said it. If I win this fight, if I beat Inoue, I will not fight MJ. I will not fight a stablemate. He's my friend. He's my team. He says we would talk about it if it's beneficial for both.
Matchroom's Frank Smith echoed the excitement surrounding the matchup, framing it as the defining opportunity of Ahmad Ali's career. He underlined MJ's punching power, reminding fans of his recent performances where his shots carried genuine knockout threat. Smith stressed that this fight represents not only the biggest payday, but also the greatest stage of MJ's professional journey. Facing Inoue in such a high-profile event is a chance to shift the balance of power in the super bantamweight division. For Akhmadaliev, a victory would mean instant global recognition and the kind of legacy that fighters dream of. Smith also suggested that the timing was perfect. MJ is in his prime, fully confident and motivated to seize this chance against the sport's most celebrated smaller weight champion.
MJ Akhmadaliev as well gets that win and sets up with an absolute mega fight with Naoya Inoue in September as well.
Yeah, 100%. Look, he was very cautious in there. As you can imagine, he's got a lot riding on it. 14 weeks until the Inoue fight. I think September 15th is the date for that in Japan. A fight he's waited a long time for, been very patient for, and I think been more than, given more than enough time for Inoue to do the other things he's wanted to do. But yeah, he finally gets his opportunity to become undisputed. He was unlucky in that fight against Tapales a few years ago now to lose his belts and, would have got the Inoue shot a lot sooner. I think we saw in the last Inoue fight, he can be vulnerable, he can be hurt, he can be put down, and MJ's a big puncher. I don't think you can judge much off of the performance of last week from MJ because it was sort of cautious, and he was just going in there to get the win, get some rounds ahead of the biggest fight of his career. It's going to be a spectacular occasion come September.
Observers agree that Murodjon Akhmadaliev represents one of the most difficult challenges of Naoya Inoue's career. Unlike some past opponents who entered the ring already beaten in the minds of fans, MJ carries the credentials and confidence to genuinely threaten. His blend of strength, technique, and determination makes him a complete package. And his southpaw stance adds another layer of complexity. Analysts point out that Inoue, while dominant, has not faced many fighters with Ahmad Ali's balance of attributes.
So Naoya Inoue's next fight with Murodjon Akhmadaliev has been announced for September 14th, so same weekend as Canelo Crawford in Nagoya, Japan. Now Akhmadaliev, he's a solid test. Crafty southpaw, can move his feet well, he can dig to the body, exchange on the inside. He's got decent combination punching, very durable. This will be one of Inoue's tougher fights at 122. Although definitely not the toughest fight of his career like they're promoting, I would say Donaire won. But MJ can definitely box. And Inoue, he can sometimes start slower against southpaws, like the Neri fight, even the first 2 or 3 rounds against Doheny. But I do think his power will eventually take over in this one. Akhmadaliev does get into exchanges. Inoue's right hand, his body shots start to land. So I can see Inoue getting a late stoppage in this one. Now, Inoue is supposed to have 4 fights this year, and Turkey is also finalizing him versus Alan Picasso for a Saudi card in December. And I think that card is supposed to have a Japanese fighters versus Mexican fighters theme. But Inoue, very active on a great stretch right now. Cardenas, MJ, Picasso, and then obviously the big one with Junto Nakatani next year.
The stage for this upcoming clash is set in Naoya, Japan, where the fight will take place in the same week as the blockbuster Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford event. While that bout commands global headlines, fans are equally excited about Inoue versus Ahmad because it pits 2 of the super bantamweight division's best against each other. Hosting it in Japan adds to the spectacle as Inoue enjoys massive popularity at home, creating a charged atmosphere for the challenger. The timing of the fight alongside another mega event reflects the current golden stretch for boxing where fans are treated to multiple elite matchups in quick succession.
Right, it looks like the monster Naoya Inoue has confirmed the location for the super fight between himself versus Murodjon Akhmadaliev for the undisputed super bantamweight title. The monster recently posted this stating, quote, "The Nagoya showdown is now set." If you don't know, Nagoya is a city in Japan, and this more or less confirms that the super fight between both men will be set in Nagoya, Japan. Now we've got the location for it, the next question is, when's the actual date for it all? And I might just have the answer for this. Doing a little bit of detective work, it looks like the date for this showdown will be on September the 14th. MJ looked calm and relaxed against Castillo, and to be honest with you, he didn't really have to get out of gear 1. Against the monster Naoya Inoue, he's gotta have to be in his optimum best to stand any chance of getting the victory. As for Naoya Inoue, we know he's gonna put on a world-class performance, especially in front of his home country of Japan. Guys, as a boxing fan, I'm so excited for this matchup. Like I said before in the past, this is one of the fights I've always wanted to see Naoya Inoue get tested on, and we're about to get it in September. Guys, what's your thoughts about all this news? And when these two do collide in September, who do you have winning and how? Let me know.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next.